Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful design that you can use for a pendant and also earrings. I've been getting asked a lot where I got this tray from, and I actually bought it on Amazon, and it is called a ceramic paint palette tray. And there's all different ones that you can buy. There's ones that are rectangle, and there's a different one. This one here has 7 holes. The other one I saw has 8 holes going around and 1 in the center. But it was shallower. It wasn't as deep as this one, and I wanted mine to be deeper for when I'm using a large amount of beads. And most of the time I don't have, 9 different beads that I'm using in one project. So that's why I went with this one. I want to say that this was $11, but I'm not for sure. The prices on these things go up and down like crazy. I remember that Fire Mountain Gems used to sell a 3-pack of these, but it was the ones that had 8 holes going around and 1 in the center. And I want to say it was like $8 for 3 of them. It was a really good deal. I don't know if they're still doing that anymore. So you have to go and check that out if you're interested in that. And another thing I wanted to tell you, if you don't have Magatamas and you love this color like I do, I bought these Magatamas on Amazon. And I think it was from Rockin' Beads. And the color is called, well, first of all, they are long Magatamas 4x7mm, which I think that all Magatamas are the same size. And the color is Matte Black AB. And AB just stands for Aurora Borealis, and there's 100 grams in this bag. So this is a very big bag. And the price of it, I can't totally remember. I want to say it was $15 to $20, somewhere in that range for this. But I just love these colors. They're so pretty. Since we will be making one of these at a time, here is the list of materials you will need for one. Now, if you're going to do 2 of these, like a pair of earrings, of course you're going to multiply all these materials by 2 to make a pair of earrings. Now, if you want to do a set, a pendant, and a pair of earrings, then you'll have to triple all of these materials I'm giving you to do a set. Now, don't worry, I'll already have all this math done for you, and I'll put it down there in the description bar below the video. Now, to make just one of these, you will need 3 feet of 8-pound fireline, and you want to leave a 7-inch tail when we first start out. And you're also going to need a 10mm round bead. I'm using pearls. The bead has to be round. And you also will need 20 long Magatamas. And you're going to need Superduos in 2 colors. You're going to need 16 of one color and 9 of another. And here you can see my 16 Superduos are purple and my 9 Superduos are blue. And you're also going to need 11 seed beads, a size 10 beading needle, and if you're doing earrings, you will need 2 earring findings. I'm using lever back earrings. And if you're doing a pendant, then you will need either a split ring or a jump ring to attach your pendant to, and also you can do a bail. And the bails I had actually had the part where you connect the pendant to the bail, the loop on that was going in the wrong direction, so I had to end up using a split ring for that. So again, this is all the materials that you will need to make one of these, and if you want to make a pair, 2 of these for earrings, then you'll have to multiply this by 2, and if you want to do a set, make a pendant and a pair of earrings, you have to multiply all of this by 3, but don't worry because I'll have all the math done for you down there in the description bar, so check that out down there. Okay, so this is everything you will need. Now, I don't know if you've ever used Magatamas before, but the holes in them are going at an angle. So when I'm working on this and I'm exiting out of this pearl, I have to pay attention to which side of the bead I'm going through because I need it to lay right in my piece. So if I'm exiting out of this pearl, I'm going this way, adding my Magatamas, I have to pick the bead up like this. So the Magatama lays in this direction. Now if I flip this over and go through the Magatama this way, you can see that the direction of the bead changed. So we have to pay close attention to which side of the hole we're going to go through. So I'm going to start by picking up my 10mm pearl, and I'm going to bring it down, and I need to leave a 7-inch tail because I need to, with my tail, go back through and tie knots at the end. So right here, 7 inches. I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to pick up a purple Superduo, a blue, 2 purple, a blue, and a purple. Now I'm going to go through this purl in this direction, so I'm making a circle, okay, and pull this through. Now I'm going to measure and make sure that it is at my 7-inch tail, because once I get to the end, my other tail will be the same exact length. Okay, and it is correct, 7 inches. Now, so this doesn't loosen up on this, I am going to reinforce it. So instead of going through one time, I'm going to go through twice. So I'm going to go back through all of these Superduos and through the purl to anchor this purl in place. Okay, now I'm exiting out here. I'm just going to go through this purl, okay, and pull my strings tight. Okay, so now it looks like this, right? So now I'm going to take my needle, which is exiting out of this side, and I'm going to pick up 2 Magatamas, and I have to pick them up so they are drooping in a certain direction. I have to flip it over, okay? So I need them to look like this, where they are drooping in this direction, not this direction, because then they're sticking up. So we need them to go down. Now I'm going to take my needle and go through this Superduo, and when I pull it through, you can see what I mean, the direction that they are sitting in. Okay, so pull my strings tight, and this is what it looks like. It looks just like this. Now I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to pick up a purple Superduo, and I'm going to go through this blue one, pull it, make sure it pops into that little hole, and now I'm going to pick up a blue one and go through the next Superduo, the purple one. Okay, the next color I'm going to pick up is a purple, and I'm going to go through this purple one here. So pull that through. Okay, so now I have this. The next color I have to pick up is a blue, and I'm going to go through this blue Superduo. Okay, and now I'm here, and I have to pick up one more purple Superduo, and I'm going to go through this hole. And now I'm at the part where I have to pick up Magatamas, and I have to pay attention on which direction I'm going through them. Okay? So you could see over here that my Magatamas are pointing down, not upward. And I'm going to flip this over, because I'm right-handed. Now when I pick up Magatamas, I have to go through in this direction. Okay? So it lays like this. Here's another one. Okay, they're both laying in this direction. So now when I go through here, they'll match this side. So through this purl, and if you can, go through both of these Magatamas on the other side. Sometimes they are hard to pass through because they are going at an angle. The hole's at an angle, not straight. Okay, so just like that, and pull it through. Now when I pull the thread tight, you can see that the Magatamas match on both sides. Now I'm going to flip this over to work on the right side. I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to pick up 2 Magatamas. Now if I pick them up in this direction, and when I put them on, this will be sticking up. So I don't need to go in that direction. I need to go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to go through this side, flip this one over, and go through this side. So then when I sew through that Superduo, they'll be laying, it's hard to see, But I'll just sew through it so you can see because they're wiggling all around. Okay. So see how they're pointing down now that I sew through it? So now I have to add the Superduos, and I'm going to do a purple and go through this blue. The next color is a blue, and then I'm going to sew through this purple. The next color is a blue. Pull the thread through, pull it tight. And my next color is a purple. Okay. Pull this tight. I'm going to turn this around. Now I have to pick up Magatamas, and I'm coming out the Superduos going down, so I have to pick them up this way. Okay? I have to flip this one over. Okay? So I pick them up, and they're going to go through, the needle's going to go through just like this. And when I pull it tight, you could see that they're pointing down. They're all going in the same direction. Now that I'm exiting out of these Magatamas, I have to take my needle and go through this purl. And then I have to go through all of these Magatamas over here. Okay. I'm going to pull my thread tight. Okay. And now I'm ready to add some more beads. So I'm exiting right here, and now I have to pick up some more Magatamas, and I have to pick them up this way. Okay, with the beads drooping downward with my needle. You see that? And now I'm gonna go through this Superduo. And now I have this. So you can see they're pointing in the right direction. They're pointing downward. And now I'm going to pick up a purple Superduo and go through this blue one. Now I have a wide gap right here, and I have to add 2 Superduos here. If I only add one, this is not going to lay correctly. So I'm going to pick up 2 blue, just like this, and I'm going to pass through this one. And somehow I have cat hair all over my hand. I don't know how, because he wasn't even in here. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to pick up another Superduo, a purple one, and go through the next. Okay, and now I'm here, and this is what it looks like. And this is actually the back of our earrings, because I don't know if you saw earlier, but this is going to be domed out just a little bit. It's going to be a little puffed. So I'm turning this over, because I'm right-handed, and I have to pick up more Magatamas, and this time I'm going this way, so I have to pick them up from this side. Okay. So I'm gonna sew in this direction, so I picked them up so they're pointing down, like this. Now I'm gonna go through these ones here on the side. Okay, I'm going to sew through this one here, through my purl. I'm going to turn this piece around, and I'm going to sew this direction back up my other side. Okay, sewing through all the Magatamas. Okay, now I'm over here, and I'm going to tighten it up a little bit, pull it. Okay, now I have to pick up 2 more Magatamas, and I'm going to go through this way. So the beads point downward. You see that? So now when I go through this Superduo, they're pointing in the same direction as all the other ones. Now I have to pick up a Superduo, a purple one, and go through this blue. Okay, then I'm going to pick up my last blue and go through this one, and then a Superduo purple and go through my next one, and now I have this. And now I have to pick up 2 more of these Magatamas, and I have to go through this way. So when I sew down, they're pointing downward. Now I'm going to sew through these. Okay. I'm going to go through all of them. And I'm turning my piece as I go. I'm over here. And I have to go through this purl. Now it's going to start getting tight. After this round it starts getting tighter. And it's harder to pass through the Magatamas. So, out of that purl, I'm going to go through all of these Magatamas again on this side. Sometimes you can only go through like 2 or 3 of them at a time. It depends on when it starts getting tight on you. Okay, so that time I got through 3. And now I have to go through these ones. Oh, and pay attention, because sometimes when you go through a couple and you pull this through, your thread will want to get caught on the last Magatama. It'll get stuck there. So see, I'm pulling it through, and I had the issue where this would loop around and get stuck on my last Magatama. Just pull that through, and here I am. Okay, pull that snug. Now I have to pick up 2 more Magatamas, and I'm going to go in this direction. Okay, just like this, so they point downward. And I'm going to go through my next purple Superduo. Now I'm here. I'm going to pick up a Superduo, a purple one, through my blue. I'm going to pick up another duo, through this one, and pull it tight. Okay, now I'm flipping this over because I have to go down this direction. Now I have to pick up 2 Magatamas, and they need to point downward. Okay, so I just picked them up, and now when I go through, they're going to be pointing down, matching all my other Magatamas. I'm going to sew through these. I'm going to go all the way back around to the other side. When I was designing this, I tried weaving it other ways, so I didn't have to go all the way back around. But when I did, my Magatamas weren't acting right, and it was messing up my design. I'm caught right now on my Magatamas. Okay. Now I have to sew back up this side, doing a few at a time. I'm gonna have to go 2 at a time, okay, because it's getting tight. Two more. Time I got through 4, and my last one right here. Okay. Now I have to get my seed beads out, but this is what it looks like so far. Right now I'm exiting out of these Magatamas, and I have to take my needle and pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and then I'm going to go through this Superduo right here. And then I'm going to pick up my last duo and go through this one. Now I have to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and I'm going to go through all of these Magatamas. Okay? I'm going to sew all the way back around up to here. And this is going to be harder than any other times before, because it's going to be a lot tighter, because it's our last time around. Okay? So you might have to sew 2 at a time in order to get through, maybe even 1. Now I have to get through my purl. Bent needles are actually good for this because it helps you through a lot easier. Okay, now I have to go back up all of these Magatamas. And right there, see how I got caught in that one? Okay, that's what I was talking about earlier. Sewing through the rest. Okay, so I was over here and I went all the way around back through all my Magatamas, and now I'm over here and I need to sew through these 2 seed beads, okay, and then through this Superduo and through the next one, just like this, in through that one, out of that one at the bottom. Pull this through, pull this string tight. Now I'm going to take my needle and go through this Superduo. Okay, so now I have to add my ear finding, and you have to pay attention because one side of this is concaved. See how it's concaved in? And the other side is puffed out. We want the side that's puffed out to be the front of our earring, okay? So this side is puffed out. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, slide them down, okay? Now I have to pick up my ear finding, and I need it to be, the front to be on the same direction as this. So this is puffed out here, so this is my front, this is the front of my ear finding. Now I have to take my needle and go through my ear finding this way, okay, just like this. And now I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads and go through this Superduo. Now you're going to add a jump ring or split ring the same exact way, and also you would add a bail the same way too. Same thing that I'm doing right now. So exiting out of my Libra back earring, I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads, slide them down. I'm going to take my needle and go back through this duo, pull this tight, and I need to reinforce this. So I'm going to go back through all the seed beads and through my earring. Okay, so sewing through all of this is making it more secure. Alright. Now I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to pick up 1 seed bead, and I'm going to sew through these 2 11-0 seed beads. Okay? And this seed bead is going to pop into that hole. Okay? Just like that, and pull it nice and tight. Now, instead of going all the way back around because it's so tight, I'm going to shoot across. So I'm going to go through this Superduo right here. So see here, you can see my 11-0 seed beads, and right next to that is a Superduo. So I'm going to go through this one, and if I can, I'll go through the next one. But we have to be careful because you can break Superduos. I've done it before. You might have to do one at a time. Okay, so there's one. Pulling it through. Going through this duo and through my blue. Pulling it through. I got caught again. I'm gonna go through this duo over here. Oops, wrong one. Wrong side. This one. through, exiting out the blue one, through this one, and through this one. Okay. Pulling it through. Again, I got caught 3 times. Okay. Now I'm right here. I'm gonna sew up through these 2 seed beads. Alright. Pick up my last seed bead. I have to fill in this gap, so I'm gonna sew back around this bail. Through all these, my lever back earring down this side, and I want to get into my Magatamas because that's where I'm going to tie my knots. They have large holes, so it's a nice place to tie my knots. One more seed bead. Okay. And pull it tight, and this is what we have. So now I have to get in position to tie my knots, and my tail thread is right here at this purl, and I have to tie my knots with this thread on this side. So I have to reposition my working thread and come back over here so I could tie my knots on this side. So right now, exiting out of this 11 seed bead, I need to shoot across and go through this purple Superduo. So through this one, then I have to go through the next one, and I might be able to get through 2, but I don't know yet. Okay, I have to be 1. Go more, maybe if I go more at an angle. There it goes. Okay, so through these 2, then I have to sew through this one and through my next purple. Okay, so I got through 2 of them, and I gotta be careful that I don't go into those Magatamas. Push them out of my way and wiggle through. Okay, so through here, and right here I am. Now I'm gonna go through my first Magatama, and then I'll be in position to tie my first knot. Okay, so here I am, and now I can start tying knots in between these Magatamas on this side, and then when I get done with that, I can take this tail and tie knots in between these Magatamas. So now I am in position to tie my knots. Just a few minutes ago, I recorded how to tie the half hitch knot, and I tied one here, and then I realized that my camera was not recording. So here I go again. I'm going to show you how to tie a half hitch knot. So here I am between 2 Magatamas. I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to go behind the beads right here. Pull this through. I'm going to make a loop, and then I'm going to go through this loop 2 times. 1, 2. Okay, I need to make sure that my knot's going to fall in the right spot, so I'm going to pull it into position like this, and I'm going to pull the knot down. Then I'm going to take my needle, and I'm going to go through this Magatama. Okay, pull that knot into the hole, and then I'm going to tie another knot right here. So I'm going to take my needle, go through the back of it again, make a loop, and go through the loop twice. Okay, then I'm going to pull my knot into place. And then I'm going to pass through this Magatama, and then I'm going to keep on going, tying half hitch knots between my Magatamas, and then when I get to down here, I'll snip my thread off. So what I like to do is I like to tie knots between each one. So I'll keep on going, tie knots between all my Magatamas, and then when I get done on this side and I cut that thread, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go in this direction. So on this side I went this way, but on this thread I'm going to go up. So I'm going to go up between each of these Magatamas and tie a knot. So keep going, tying your half hitch knots And when you're done, snip your threads. This is the end. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and like me on Facebook. And don't forget to share pictures of the jewelry you've made from my videos on my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching.